So thanks for coming out today, guys. If you are trying to figure out, what is happening, who I am, what this is, everything is working. My name is Crimson Clad, and on Saturdays I do this little show called CyberBuzz Radio. And normally we have a ton of people here and it's really bumping. We play music. We talk about Hive stuff. We're not actually sure that Roeland even exists. I'm here every week. I help. No, it's not about ending. It's just getting started. So listen, here's the deal. I'm here every week. I help people with their Hive questions. We play music. We have a lot of fun. If you're watching the video, you're going to be like, what is going on with the background? It's because I've just actually created this page on the fly to show you guys me talking to Roeland. So unfortunately, what we didn't super expect is that this is a holiday in the Netherlands, so Roeland's been really busy. We didn't get a chance to really properly prep everything for today. And now everything just looks crazy. Everything looks crazy. And everything sounds crazy. And it sounds ridiculously unprofessional. So I'm desperately hoping... Oh, Roeland's writing up now. All right. Let's just see. I'm going to flip me back here so we have a screen that doesn't look completely ridiculous. And now we're starting to get people showing up. I see people who are watching on Vim TV. And we're going to totally get Roeland set up. Let's just fucking see if we can salvage this absolute shit show of a day.
Oh, no, don't worry about it.
There
It was my
you
fault.
are. Okay, I got you, Roeland. So we fixed it.
I forgot to push the talking. Yeah, it was my fault all the time. So, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, Cream. I know you're for the minutes, and I was literally for the seconds because my kids we were celebrating kind of Santa Claus here in the Netherlands, and today it's the gift day, and you give everything, all the gifts. So they were pretty hyped up and went to bed really late, literally 5 minutes before the show. So,
which that's
sorry.
Okay. It's an exciting time for you, but unfortunately, what it means is, the first part of the show, anybody was here, they get to come back to that to the saying for everybody that, hey, we saw that time that Crim and Roeland fucked everything up brutally. So we'll trim all this out. It'll be like it never happened. And magically, through the power of editing, when we finally get this show going, people will be like, oh, it was so professional. I was there. It was great. And they'll never know what a disorganized mess it was. So I'm just fixing the overlay in the background. But here's the deal. What I think everybody wants to hear for sure is sort of a little bit about setting up HiveFest this year, because it was not easy. And a little bit more about what they can expect, like kind of a HiveFest elevator pitch before we talk about anything else.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. I had some glitches, but HiveFest, what to expect? So actually this year when COVID came, I was like, okay, HiveFest is the place where people meet and have a great time. It's the place where, I'm just working my ass off together with a lot of volunteers, but make it happen for people to foster relationships through having a good time and learning from each other through the presentations. With COVID, you can do that, right? You can meet in big crowds. Nobody's going to take a plane because there are no planes, or you have to go in quarantine for 2 weeks before you can move around in another country. I don't know. So I was actually, I didn't know. I thought, okay, let's just skip this year.
Mm-hmm.
But then I thought, let's just skip it. I looked at many alternatives, digital. Many events go digital these days, right? It's like this show. Then this show, no disrespect, but this show would be kind of like the event. You would have 1 day of live streams where people sit behind their computers,
totally,
and talk about, do their presentations from home. But it's not really the interaction. You don't really have the feeling that you're doing something together, or that you're together in a place and meeting folks, because it's more like one person is sending, you're consuming, and maybe through a chat you're connecting, but not really. not that deep as you do when you're just standing next to each other and maybe have some fun or have a drink together.
Yeah, it's true. And I mean, I've only been to, I think, 2 out of 4. They were the previous code base, the Steemfest, HiveFest, the pre-HiveFests. And it's true. They're really special. They really kind of underline what's happening in our community and all these people who have sort of a similar connection around wanting to be social, wanting to support blockchain, wanting to be a part of growing a movement, and then also an insane diversity of different people. I cannot believe how many different types of people show up to Steemfest, HiveFest, RFest. It's crazy. And I think that's one of the big strengths of Hive is how different everyone is. We have people from all walks of life, all interests, all levels of crypto understanding. And I think that's something that's really valuable about Hive in general is we have a very diverse community. And you look at a lot of crypto projects and you look at a lot of blockchain projects, and they're a very certain type of person that gets wrapped up in crypto or that gets wrapped up in blockchain. Because we're a social blockchain, HiveFest is sort of a representation of all the things that make Hive special. So the VR thing this year is pretty cool. You're setting it all up. We've got one more day for people to get registered?
Yeah, in the end, I'm just trying to push everybody to register as soon as possible. So, because technically, if there are too many people in one room in VR, you will not speak with everybody, right? So currently there are 450 people registered. It's an absolute record, but yeah, that's also because people can just join in from home. You don't have to take any steps like booking a ticket or having money for a ticket, because normally HiveFest is pretty expensive. If you fly across half the planet, book a hotel wherever, and also the event costs. Normally, it costs quite a lot of money to program 5 days of venues and food and beverage. So that's all out of the equation this year. Then you go. So there are more people, but 450 people in one VR room it's not going to fit technically, because your headset or your computer needs to know the position of these 450 people all at the same time and recalculate their moves and their audio. It's just not going to work. So what they do is quite logic, is that they spawn copies of the event venues. So once you log in, or once you hop from event world to event world, you join in one of the copies. And AltSpace, it's the software we're going to use, which is available for VR headsets, for Macintosh, and for Windows computers. Enables you with the most recent updates that once you start joining one of those, so imagine you enter HiveFest, so there are already 80 people because you're a bit lagging, and then it says, okay, so we got 2 copies of the lobby room. Would you want to go to room 1? Or rather go to room 2, and then it would show you, these are the people you already know from room 1. So do you want to join in with some friends you already connected on AltSpace, or do you want to go in the other room? And this is basically how you can travel around, and still, if you want to see some familiar faces. So although it's spawning multiple copies of one event room, you can still find those other people you want to hook up with. Plus, you can also stumble into new people that way. But why did we end up in this cave?
Well, there are a couple different options for VR, right? Like with AltSpace, did you choose it for a reason? Because I know there's Somnium Space. There are a couple of other sort of big VR, social apps.
Yeah, VR chat, and you have the Mozilla Hubs. Initially, I wanted to go for Mozilla Hubs because it's fully open source and also available for desktop and mobile devices. But then the performance was quite underwhelming, and it was also a very limited amounts of people, and they didn't have these copy functionality where you could go bigger with the event. With this, they call it front row. So you copy multiple instances of these venue. Plus, AltSpace, I think it's the oldest. So I just went with the seniority of it also.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Well,
so I tested a couple, and in the end, this one was the one which really felt when I entered it. And I bought a headset only 2.5-3 months ago when the Quest 2 came out. That was actually. So I tested all these other alternatives. I went to a couple of digital events where we do like the video chatting. But then it just didn't feel like it fits for HiveFest, because we are already so often doing this kind of stuff, right? We're already every 2 weeks in a developer call where everybody is meeting through a phone call. Every day the MSP or the Discord is exploding with people connecting. So it had to be something special. And then when I put on the headset, and then when I explored some of these social worlds, you just hop in, and it's like you walk to a cluster of people or a group of people standing in a circle having a chat. It just feels as if you are. Yeah, it just feels super social, as if you are there. It's because of the tech. It really works. If you move your head around, it's no glitching. It just feels like you're over there into this space, into the other world. And the audio is also binaural, so it's 360-degree audio. So you really hear that somebody is shouting from the back, or So that's it's so I call it the greatest mindfuck. Is now how I just try to tell people, because it's so difficult to convince people how it is. You can only see it once you experience it. The immersiveness, you can only experience it once you have one of these headsets. I mean, you can record in 2D what you see, but it's nothing like when you just put it on. It really feels like you are there.
Yeah, it's super true. So I have a question. Did you have a headset, or had you had any experiences with VR before you?
Yeah, 5 years ago when. Yeah, 5 years ago maybe on the tech events here in the Netherlands or wherever. If you go to South by Southwest, then you had the first HCCs. I think it were the first HCCs. Obviously, VR is already really old. I think in 1959 it was already. You had this big red device. I don't know. I just remember when I was in high school that there was a thing in one of these adolescent magazines that there was going to be the next big thing. Well, it took another 25 years or so, I guess. Or maybe it's still not even a big thing, but I think stuff like this helps. So then, 5 years ago, maybe at tech events, you had this fun thing where you had to put up the scanners, 3D scanners in your room, which monitor where you are, so it could mimic you on where you are in the room. And then, you had the gravity and the roller coaster ride, right? And that was pretty impressive. People puking because of the roller coaster ride.
Well, we talked about that. We've talked about that on this show, sort of the evolution of VR and how you used to, you'd have to put the sensors up in the room, and even being wired with a headset, the feeling is very different. So, as much as I hate Facebook, and I hate Facebook with a passion, the Oculus Quest is far and away the best headset out there. The Quest 2 is excellent. They've priced it knowing that most people have a Facebook account and that adoption will be so much quicker. And it's true. It's already starting to happen. So we kind of need them to push the boundaries, but it does make me laugh, because usually the first time you put anybody in VR, maybe they don't get sick right away, but it sure is hilarious to try and give them something. I've seen tightrope walking apps or things like that, where your brain makes these experiences real. And so you usually do end up seeing somebody punching through a monitor, or like kicking over a little kid or whatever. And it's hilarious for people watching. But it speaks to how immersive it is. And so I'm always really interested in VR because it's changing the way that we work and we play. And a lot of people think of VR for gaming, but I think one of the reasons that HiveFest is really going to stick in people's minds is it's game-like. The graphics are, they're cartoony and they're fun and they're bright, but at the same time, it's not a game. You're going there to meet people. You're going there to, consume conference content. You're going there to learn. And so it's funny because it's more about the way that we work. It's more about our workflows. It's more about the way that we approach things from I don't even know what the right sort of way of putting it is, but I'm really interested in the way that VR will change how we work and how we connect outside of the gaming aspect. And one of the things that I find really interesting is there's a lot of VR apps now that are about creating an environment to work or play in. And it doesn't have anything to do with the game itself. But for example, you're starting to see a lot of VR apps where you put on your headset and your keyboard is connected to your computer. And instead of being in your tiny little office or your living room, you're actually now working in, a high-rise in Tokyo, or you're sitting typing on your computer on the top of a mountain. And there are a lot of things that are changing how we perceive our space and our connection. And I think that's going to be super important for HiveFest. You mentioned it earlier. Hey, you can just walk around up to a group of people and join a conversation. And that's exactly what you do at a conference or in a workplace or at a social gathering. And it's wild that is so possible and so real feeling now.
Yeah, plus personally, I like to organize an event. So the philosophy of HiveFest is also because people take this leap to go to, well, for example, last year to go to all the way to Bangkok. I mean, people coming from the US literally had to fly 24 hours.
It was rough.
To get to...
It was rough.
Yeah, I mean, huge respect for that. It was only 12 for me from Holland, but I mean, so the philosophy is also a little bit, okay, I don't want to organize an event where you have, like, I call it the US, with also respect for the US, but I call it the US, maybe it's not even the US, but like a dull conference where you go, for example, take the one for, what's the name, the one from CoinDesk. Then you go to New York, and what you can do if you just go to the conference, don't go to the side events. If you go to the conference, you can literally book a room in the hotel where the conference organized that, and then just go in the morning, go to have a breakfast, and then to the ballrooms, and then you're in New York, but the only thing you've seen from New York is going with the Uber from JFK to Manhattan, and then 5 days later you go out again, or 3 days later, and that was it. So my philosophy is also to if you make the whole trip, then it's also nice to combine it and to see something of this new place where you're at. So it makes it fun for me to organize, because you go to multiple places, or you work with a lot of different people. But it's even more fun to attend. At least that's what my idea behind it is, that you, well, through the dynamicality of it, you see multiple venues, and it doesn't become boring. So it will keep you fresh. And I think having it in the VR world. So this is obviously another setup, because you can't be inside this VR world as long as you can be in Bangkok. But then you can still have this dynamics, because you can still go to different places and keep it interesting that way. Plus, there's also tons of small games you can do, or funny things you can do inside the
activities you can participate in together. Now we're falling into a rhythm. The overlay no longer looks like a dog's breakfast. You and I have kind of fallen in. We've settled ourselves enough that people are starting to ask questions in chat. And I think that's super cool. So we'll check some of those. Now, Gandalf was saying, will we be wandering around with a whole Hive group all around through AltSpace VR worlds? Because there is sort of a portal option where you can zot around. Is that something that you're thinking about doing?
Yeah, so HiveFest this year will be 2 days of approximately 4 hours each day, fully programmed, and then maybe a 1 hour maximum startup time, so warm up, so just to get checked in, and then 1 hour after the official event, cooling down. But that's already 6 hours. It's already too long, but it's more like people maybe come in late or people start early and or exit prior to the end. So 2 days. First day is on Friday the 18th, starting plenary at 5 p.m. UTC, but starting at 4 p.m. UTC to check in and grab a coffee virtually. And then that will be the plenary day with kickoff with the Q&A of the core dev team with Block Trades and Howell, and then have about 20 folks presenting. So all the presentations will be pretty fiery, and people have maybe 10 minutes at max. The time schedule to be announced. And then on the still also have some people still asking for a place. So, but it will work. We'll work it out. And then on second day will be more Explorer Day, basically a little bit like a tiny HiveFest normally would be. Is like first have 2 days of about more like conference, and then have exploring, like city trip exploring. So the second day on Saturday the 19th will be, we will have the NFT showroom gallery obviously then open, maybe some presentations from artists. So that's a little bit of plenary sessions, but so with the artists, then we set up some rooms with games, hide and seek. There's a card game. What was the other one? Oh yeah, there's a labyrinth, a maze we can do. And so these are all in different worlds. And then there's a ton of super epic worlds. So what we're currently doing is making a portal world for the Saturday, where on the one hand you have the portal going to the NFT showroom gallery, where the 40 works submitted by NFT artists will be on display. And then we'll have portals, which is basically just like the Ring. I don't know what was the name of that series where you had this
Stargate.
Yes.
Perfect. I love it. It's a great fit for kind of our slightly nerdy group here. I'm not saying we're nerds, but I knew what you meant right away.
Yeah. As somebody made the official Stargate also as a model, and you can place it, but they are really heavy on the rendering of your device. So they made this like an app. So you click, you can either walk into the portal and then you will get teleported to this new world. So that's one thing. You have we will make like a selection of super cool worlds we've been finding, and if anybody finds a super cool one and thinks it's cool to add to the list. So we're basically curating now a nice set of worlds to explore. So then you can go with a group of 10, go to one of these worlds and check it out for 10 minutes and see what the world offers, and then come back to the portal zone and continue. And then after 1 hour or so, you will have the VR mask printed on your forehead, and then you can. We do some closing remarks for the second day. But there are some pretty cool worlds that have been built. For the event itself, I will use the more trusted, proven worlds. So for the first day, I mean, trusted and proven worlds made by AltSpace with some added functionalities, because depending on if you use a third-party world made by somebody else, it can be lagging. So they optimized a couple of worlds for specific events. So,
all right, yeah. I'm just scanning the chat here, and Jarvy's got a bunch of great questions, but he was just saying, so there's really kind of only one track for presentations. Everybody will kind of be doing short introductory stuff. It sounds like Is that right? Like we'll have, obviously you're going to have opening remarks, and then the core dev stuff is going to be a little bit longer, but everything else is kind of going to be a short summary
Yeah,
of all the cool stuff around the Hive ecosystem.
yeah. But depending on this, actually, we could decide to do on a Saturday, do a more in-depth sessions. If people want to, we could do that. So that's
Okay.
open. It's totally fine to do that. So to have a second track on Saturday, which open up if people really have nice ideas to maybe go a little bit more in depth, either through a round table or do some longer presentations, we could opt to do that on the Saturday as well.
All right, that sounds
Yeah.
really good. I mean, for example, I'm supposed to be presenting, and obviously, our team was working on NFT showroom, and that's going to be kind of a really, it's something that I'm really excited about. We've talked about it a lot on this show. Is the idea of the NFT space, artists, and the diversity of people around the Hive blockchain creating art who aren't necessarily, blockchain or crypto heads, but who are creating really beautiful pieces of work. And the NFT ecosystem is really vibrant. We've seen a lot of people coming from ETH who have been either having problems or who are exploring new avenues, and they're discovering that Hive is a really great match for them. And so that's really exciting and something that I and the rest of the NFT showroom team are really passionate about. But something that's been happening while you guys have been wandering around, I know Gandalf, Inertia, Marky, yourself, is people in VR, when you get out and start talking about why you're there and what you're doing and start talking about Hive, you guys have been like awkwardly onboarding people just randomly that you're accosting in VR, right? Just in random rooms.
Yeah, that's quite funny, actually, to see this. This is the first time, right? No, normally, if you would go to a HiveFest, you would have to take this leap where you buy the ticket to the event, book a hotel, get a plane, and now it's just click, and you're there, right? You just download the software. Or there are already gazillions of people living, sometimes really living in AltSpace. And through the discovery features of the AltSpace software, where you would, you can ask AltSpace or Microsoft, it is these days, to get featured. But you would also get naturally featured just through the amount of people attending your event. And we've been doing a couple of, I call it the pre-pump events. Mm-hmm. It's also really a way to test out headsets and test out some of the apps which will be deployed through the event for people to interact with each other or just to play some music and stuff like this. So we're testing all that kind of stuff, but then we also invite, obviously, on Hive people to come along and test their headsets. So then you have 20 people in the room, and then you already get featured on the discovery tab of AltSpace, and then you just get, it will just naturally keep on growing because people see, hey, there are people over there. Okay, let's go there. Oh, okay, there are people over there. Okay, let's go. And then people start asking, so what's this Hive? Is this music fest or what's this all about? So yeah, that's like what Marky did. He did a onboarding introductory presentation, or he hosted the event about introducing the Hive blockchain, which is really cool to do. And so when I personally saw that these people keep on asking, so what is Hive? So then we set up in one corner of the event, we just set up like 10 posters. Which introduce, I call it the Hive Explain Me Like I'm 5 exposition. And people will get spawned in front of the exposition. So when you enter the space, you will first see what is Hive in your face, and then you could follow along the expo explaining the principles or the basics of the Hive blockchain. So you at least have a little bit of an intro, and then you can chat with some Hive folks. But yeah, it's actually the first time I see people, my battery. I see people registering on Hive through the HiveFest account because they're going to attend HiveFest. So yeah, that was a first for me. I think I did not, prior to this edition, onboard people through the event.
Well, that's exciting, and we maybe we could pick up some stuff about what is really drawing people to be onboarded to Hive, because obviously content discovery, world discovery, onboarding, and interesting new users is huge for Hive. So maybe we'll learn some things through the process. But I am just keeping I'm keeping a quick eye on chat. I got a couple things to mention just very quickly before I get to some of these questions. There is someone who is impersonating me on Discord at this second right now, trying to get BTC out of you. Guess what? I'm live on air. I am absolutely not ever going to ask you for money. So please, if you are getting messaged by a rogue Crimson Clad right now who knows I'm on air and is being an asshole and is trying to get money from you, block them. It's fine. You and I can sort it out later. We'll have fisticuffs. So ignore the random Crimson Clad. Now, coming back to the important part is other people that are asking in my DMs are asking questions for Roeland. So one of the things that has been a little tricky is there are a lot of people in blockchain in Hive who are big Linux users. And this has been a bit of a stumbling block for AltSpace. Are there any workarounds that you know of? What have you found for people who are like diehard Linux users? Is there going to be a way for them to be able to attend? It's okay if the answer is no. We just gotta let them know.
No, yes, of course. if there, how do you say it in Dutch? You say if there's a will, there is a. If there's a want, if there's a desire, there is a way. You will find your way to get to Microsoft Windows.
I know, it's the worst. It is the worst.
No, I mean. Now, what I have a Mac myself, or maybe I have a Mac, and then for AltSpace there is beta software for Macintosh is available, so you can join. That's not Linux, obviously, but just stay with me. But for the event, I also have 5 Windows computers running AltSpace, and how I do it is I have Amazon or any other cloud provider where you can fire up for a couple of hours. You can just fire up a cloud instance of, in this case, with Amazon, Microsoft Windows server, which will really cost you for the whole event, depending on whether you go for spot pricing or pay the full price. It will cost you something between $1 and maybe $10 if you go for a fully paid super slick super GPU computer. And then all you need is to have a decent internet connection, and you can just join through remote desktoping from that computer. So that could be a solution to explore AltSpace or join in interactively. Next to that, there will be a live stream.
Right, okay.
From the event, which is quite dynamic because there will be 5 users which are robot users, and they will broadcast the event from five vantage points. So it will be a dynamic live stream as well. It will not be just one camera just pointed at one. So it will be a kind of a feast for the eye. Oh, no, not a feast, but yeah.
No, that's super exciting. And we're seeing a lot of people are starting to set up these really intricate multi-camera dimensional events now in AltSpace. So I'm super excited for it. Where will the live casts be broadcast? Because I see some people in chat are asking about, is this going to be on YouTube or?
Yeah, so it will. I will use a restream, so it will be on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, TreeSpeak, obviously. Yes.
Yep. And what about Vim TV? We gotta give them a shout out as well. If you're able, then Vim TV is another live streaming platform on
I know Vim. I know Vim. Yes, if I can add another custom RTMP, I'm happy to put it on Vim TV as well.
Yeah, that's been something that I've struggled with for sure with streaming is a lot of streaming solutions don't want to look at including sort of non-traditional options or decentralized options. So finding a restreaming service that doesn't charge you out the wazoo to add, custom URLs is ridiculous. And it's hard because we want to support these blockchain based and sort of decentralized options. And The world
Yeah.
is not quite ready for it, but we have to make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah, true. So if you go to hivefest.freshdesk.com, there's a FAQ and also one dealing about how to join the event, and one of the chapters in that how to join is the URLs to the live streams. But on the day itself, the homepage will also feature the live stream, so you won't miss it. If you're subscribed to the newsletter, you will get the links as well.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to kind of open it up because there are people, they're watching all over the place. You got lots of different places to hang out. You can hang out in the Discord. Right now, everybody's watching on mspwaves.com. We have a YouTube, we have a Twitch, same sort of thing. So if you are on one of the alternatives and you're watching right now, don't forget that you can ask questions in the Discord. And depending on where you're at, OpenHive, Twitch, Theta, Vim. If you want to chat with us, you still can. It gets piped right into the discussion here. So if you have questions for Roeland, if you want to talk a little bit about HiveFest, if you want to know what's going on, if you have anything specific while you've got Roeland here, then throw it in the chat now. I know Big Tom was mentioning, will there be sprays like in Counter-Strike? I don't know if AltVR can do that. Do you know, Roeland? Do you know what he means by sprays?
No, I can only guess, but my guess would be pretty gross.
No. Oh gosh. Okay, fair enough. No. In a lot of games.
No, it's quite funny actually.
Yikes! I hope that's not possible.
One of these worlds in AltSpace, they have a bar, and then you have to click on the bar where it says, "Are you over 21 or over 18 or something?" And then don't drink too much, it says, or something like this. So then you click to activate, and then you can grab the drinks, and then all of a sudden, some of the characters or avatars just start puking like it's 1995. No, just spraying. So maybe that's what he means.
Oh Lord.
So yes, there can be spray.
Okay. Okay, no, not quite, but that's hilarious. Oh. And that's more like an in-person HiveFest a little bit. But no, what he meant is in a lot of games, mascara, I'm sorry, people are like, what is this? In a lot of games, if you have a custom spray, you can actually walk around and it's almost like a graffiti tag. So you can walk around and you can leave your mark, like spray something and leave an image behind. But it sounds like, obviously, this is going to be super resource intensive. You've done a lot of setup to have all of these camera angles. You have it to be really robust because so many people are going to be there. Probably not going to have some of the customization options available. The world is probably going to be pretty set beforehand, right? You've been working hard on it. There's a lot of rooms, a lot of stuff that you've built, and most of it you built from scratch, right?
Yeah, most of the apps have been built from scratch. So for coming Sunday, I'm going to hide the apps we will use at the event itself, but just hide it so everybody will connect to the app, but it will not be visible. But I can just test the load, for example, so we can see, okay, how many people are entering, and then but what you can do stuff like that, at least you can place objects. Minimally, you can place objects in a world which you can pick up and throw at other people, or do stuff like this. Mm-hmm. And if one would write an app where others could have their custom sprays, if you will, or leave little particles floating around, there could be possible, but it would need to be integrated into each world where the event would happen. But yeah, stuff like this in general is possible with AltSpace.
That's insane. That's crazy. I'm really excited to see all the stuff that you've put together. So everybody in chat is still talking about the rogue Crimson Clad who's trying to steal money from people literally right now, and oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. So we were gonna try and do some VR stuff today, but I don't know that we're gonna be able to work that in. Just looking at the time, we're already actually halfway through the show. We've blown through half the show. We started out with a little bit of nonsense because we started out a little off. Late. off of our game. But so now that we're here, I'm going to quickly say hi to everybody who's joining us. I'm seeing some familiar faces jumping in. If I haven't said hi to you like I normally do, hello, welcome to the show. My name is Crimson Clad. On Saturdays, I hang out here. I have a show called CyberBuzz Radio. I talk about the Hive blockchain. I answer questions. We play music. We talk to people from around the ecosystem. We have a lot of fun. So many of you guys are first timers. Today I have Roeland with me. If you're just joining in the Discord, there's actually a video stream as well. But if you just want to listen, no problem. Feel free to ask questions. And Roeland and I are going to talk a little bit more about HiveFest and what's happening with Hive and all his hard work that comes with organizing an event like this. Now, you said this is like, oh... He's rocking the headset right now, the goggles, if you're looking at the video stream. I've got mine plugged in behind me, but the only problem for me right now is because I wasn't fully set for this stream, getting everything set up would take some time and it would pull us away from our allotted time on the stream just to try and get it set up. So there is an event tomorrow. I don't know if Roeland has the link handy, but for those of you who are joining us, these pump-up events are really exciting because it gives you a chance to make some friends in AltSpace, meet some of the people who are going to be talking at HiveFest, and kind of give you a feel for what HiveFest is going to be like. So maybe, Roeland, do you want to talk about tomorrow's like the last big pump-up event? It's the last day to register. If you have a link for that, maybe you can drop it in chat or somebody else can find it. What's on the docket for tomorrow?
So first about the link, if somebody else can find it, it's in my post.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Because I cannot fire up any browser somehow. All my browser, I only can fire up Discord at the moment. So
no
don't know
worries.
what's happening with my computer. So no, the events really have been. Actually, the idea originally originated from Jarvie, because what he said is basically the same thing. What I said is that listen. It's so difficult to explain how different the experience is from having a 2D Wolfenstein, a 3D first-person shooter experience with the running the AltSpace app on your desktop versus having one of these headsets and joining in through one of these headsets in a really 360-degree, three-dimensional world where you can literally walk around in, depending on the size of the plane or free space you have in your house available. But then he said we should do a pre-event where we kind of try to convince or show off to people how cool it is, or how really cool it is. But it just keeps on being really difficult to explain how cool or how totally different this is through a two-dimensional recording. So that's actually a pity, because at a given time, so AltSpace is already, since 2015 or something, it already exists. So at a given time, their software also featured 3D streaming. So they would have a robot in your event, which would record at 360 degrees, and then you could broadcast it again at 360 degrees to YouTube, and then maybe have these Google Cardboard, these $2 super simple headsets which you can use on your phone. So then you would already be easier to explain this this phenomenon. So anyhow, Jarvie came up with it, and then we missed to invite him. But in the end, the pre-pump, it really helped, because it was a good way to also test all the specific host and moderation tools which are available on AltSpace. And so yeah, that's actually what. So this one will feature this Sunday. We've got it set up where it will feature all the stuff which will mimic basically the event, not the venues, because the venues will be different, but it will mimic the technical setup. So it will have the copies, so there will be multiple copies of the same room. It will have basically all the apps which will be available for the attendees, except some you will still not be able to see, but I at least can do load testing.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll just test the background audio, and I think live streaming. We can do another test with 3Speak, and if there's anybody, maybe Marky wants to do his great stand-up show tomorrow. I really had a good laugh because Marky joined in on Slick Rick's show the other day in AltSpace. There are many open mic events on AltSpace. I could also morph it into an open mic event because for me it's really to test how all the host stuff works tomorrow on stage. So whoever you can hand the mic, and if you do a raise hand and stuff like this. But if there's anybody who wants to introduce, or maybe somebody who wants to sell you some BTC, just hop in.
Shit. Gandalf is just saying that he's actually tested banning people and that it feels extra satisfying in 3D to ban people.
Yeah.
So okay, that's I'm excited. I missed the first pump up event, so I'm about ready to be pumped. I will
above
say.
that, it's just you above all. It's already like a little pre-HiveFest because there are many at least enough Hive people's joining in, and then you can also just gather up and look at some other cool places afterwards or during.
Yeah. Well, so one thing that I think is really interesting here is obviously we have the social aspect of Hive that connects all of us, and a bunch of us are already friends or following each other or consuming each other's content or coming to each other's shows. But, do you see this as something that's going to hang on for Hive members? Like, do you think because AltSpace VR is so social and a lot of VR things are so social and they make it so easy for people globally to connect. Do you think this is going to stick it out? You think it's going to stay around?
To be honest, we are like a perfect group because many of us are a tad bit nerdy.
Just a little.
But then we have the social part, and you have the thing in common. I mean, it's so funny. So I'm making these apps, right, for the event, and then what you do normally, then I'm working behind the computer. I test it locally, and then once they are more ready, I put them on a server, and then I want to test them together with some other people. And they are Hive people, for example, Archange, Gandalf, and Vincent Puzio, who's been a long-time friend and also helping out again this year. Text them, or most of the time I don't even have to text them or ask them, do you want to come test? Because then I put up my headset, and then normally when you enter AltSpace again, you get transformed into your own house. And if you have friends on AltSpace, then they can also visit your house even when you're not there. So you have your own house world, right? So then sometimes I enter my house
and you'll find people just hanging around.
Gandalf in some corner throwing some snowballs or firing some fireworks.
That's awesome. I don't know. I can't decide if that's like a big bonus or a horrible thing. Is if I come home after the end of a long day and jump in and Gandalf is already in my house.
No, but I think even for the developer calls we do, right? Zoom is nice, but yeah, if you just see your name as a text on a screen in on the YouTube stream, it's not really gives any feel. It's so distant. It feels. So, I think the developer meets could also at least maybe once every 3 or 4, because most of the devs now of the core devs will now have one of these devices. It would be really cool if they would also happen in AltSpace, and then as Gandalf also suggested, it might be cool to sometimes have a more open dev meet. It depends obviously on the devs whether they want to join, but I think it will be really cool to have a more frequent. It's just a great way to monitor opinion. And I remember 2 years ago or 3 years ago in Lisbon at HiveFest, the FAQ with the core team it just kept on going. I had to reschedule all the presentations and shorten other people's presentations because there was such a need or a want that people wanted to ask about SMTs and all this stuff. But this can really happen on a personal level more often. Obviously, it depends on whether others would want that. But I think, ultimately, it's just as if you are sitting behind your computer and chatting, like we're chatting right now. But then you're still hidden because you're still hidden behind the avatar. It just makes the whole thing feel more together and more connected, just like how Mark wants it.
Well, we don't get a chance to interact with Marky a lot because he is still in
I mean Mark Zucchi in this case.
Oh yeah, him. Yeah. Well, let's forget
Make the
about
world
that.
more connected.
And actually, I'm holding off. I'm connecting with a Quest 1. I've got one of the old Quests. I haven't actually upgraded yet because I've got my eye on, I think Steam. Steam is putting out one called the Index. Not Steam, our Steam. Steam,
cool.
the gaming company. Like Valve. Valve is putting out the Index. There are a bunch of really cool cordless headsets coming. Whether or not they're going to have the same clout that the Quest does is neither here nor there. But so one thing that I kind of...
Cool. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. But I was going to say one thing that I'm kind of... The more I hear about sort of listening to you, listening to people in chat, the people who are coming in from Open Hive or wherever they're chatting, is that maybe this should be something that we can get people in our community to start working on. So when you're building a world in AltSpace, you can bring in your own assets. It's incredibly customizable. So putting aside all the incredibly hard work and expense that you're putting into optimizing a world for a ton of people, I'd love to see us kind of help some of these new to VR Hive enthusiasts bring together some assets and maybe create just a shared Hive world. It would be really cool if you could just go there at any given time and, if there is a dev meeting, tune into that on a, screen on the wall, or watch one of these MSP Wave shows like what's happening right now, or check out one of the streams, one of the gamers that's, on the top of trending right now, or something that we could build that was a space that connected our, what we're doing on the blockchain and all of our popular front ends, and this kind of brave new world that we're taking over as a group because of HiveFest.
Yeah, no, personally, I really want to do more with, in this case, AltSpace, it has some developer tools available. So for me personally, I really like it because, I always want to make stuff people can use. So here in AltSpace, there are many people who want to use cool stuff if you make cool stuff for them. So no, I'm definitely all for that, what you're suggesting right now, actually. And I think there are, most of the people, all the people who got the headset because HiveFest is going to be in AltSpace, I see them every day. They are online on the headset. So I think absolutely. It will work out.
That's cool. Well, one of the things, it had happened originally sort of around the legacy code base, and I'm kind of hoping we can lure him back in. But we did for a while have a 3D asset app that was built around the blockchain. And I'm kind of hoping we'll see Deluxe come back, especially knowing now that there's so much popularity around this. And we're introducing a lot of people who haven't had a chance to kind of get into VR. Now we're bringing them in. So we know there's a big segment of Hive users who are also like, whoa, VR is neat. Having something like an asset app or having some more sort of 3D oriented apps that are, or VR oriented apps that are tied to the Hive blockchain, I think is a really exciting way to go. And I think for a lot of people, maybe parts of the VR experience are beyond their knowledge. But for a lot of people, designing a world or bringing in their favorite Hive assets or, bringing together groups or planning events is going to be something that more people can get involved in. So yeah, I can see that. I can see that Good Karma's saying that he wants to see at least 2 HiveFests a year, maybe VR HiveFest twice a year. It might be really
Okay,
cool
okay,
to
okay.
see where we can have sort of the
Huh?
community branches of HiveFest that go along with the big main event that you've poured your heart and soul into. I'm certainly
Yeah.
hoping that it won't be too many more years before we can all get together again, but you know,
No,
expanding
and
is
I could
good.
envision also having. I could envision having there will be a hybrid once the real life can happen again, and if enough people can travel again, and if the world picks up again, let's put it that way. Um, I can envision that they will both coexist, either together or maybe one weekend the one and then the other one the next weekend, something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it should.
I
Mm.
like it. I
Because
think
now the
anything.
option exists. So yeah, what Good Karma says also, yeah, there's something to be said for that as well.
Yeah, and Kitty Girls just highlighted a mascara. I missed it when it went by the first time, but they're asking, get the whale into AltSpace. What about something like that? This is something that
Yeah, yeah.
we talk about a lot on our show here.
Well, I told about the whale. Yes, I can do. I think I can. Yeah, I can try to make it happen. Still, if
Yeah,
you.
and so
Yeah. So the only challenge is. So then, what you could do is that you could send outside of AltSpace. You could send some Hive to an account, and then it would spray and say that user X let the whale spray. By the way, the real whale is now in hibernation, so don't send money or you will get refunded. But just so people know, every winter the whale goes in hibernation because stormy weather, and it will come out again in March or April. But on a side note, no, a challenge is to connect your keys into AltSpace. It could happen through Hive Signer or something like this, but yeah. Or you could pre-authorize maybe an application like HiveFest. But then if you want to do wallet-based stuff, you would also need to pre-authorize for active key based activities. So yeah, I'm also not really per se a fan of pre-authorizing apps for active key authentication. But it's personal thing maybe. But
I would agree. I mean, one of the big things is when we're teaching people about how easy crypto is and being sort of self-sovereign and making sure that you are responsible for your keys and understanding sort of some of the inherent sort of needs that you have when you're getting into the crypto space, which is control your keys. Understand that if you lose control of those, then you lose control of your funds. I agree. I wouldn't want to see something like that right
well,
off the bat. And I think there's probably solutions that are going to be coming down the pipe because this is a thing that goes
yeah,
beyond alt
you
space.
could set up a second. You could set up a second account, or we could
Yeah,
use maybe Hive Engine to use a wrap token, which you can just use with a posting key. So
exactly.
there you could lower your risk. But yeah, stuff like that. I will see. I put it on a to do and see if I can put the whale in some whale functionality inside.
Well, and one of the other things that I think would be really interesting, and just kind of as you and I are talking about it and watching what everybody in chat is saying, one of the interesting things that might be worthwhile to putting in, maybe not the HiveFest environment, but whatever our sort of community Hive environment looks like, is you would probably be able to program assets to have either maybe visual changes or, depicting some of what's going on around the blockchain. I mean, many people create block streamers, they build bots, they build websites that visualize all of the information. I mean, our blockchain
That's possible,
is
100%.
fast, it has a ton of transactions going through it, and they're very diverse. Some are JSON, some are games, some are posts, some are straight up financial transfers, whatever it might be. It might be really interesting to kind of build
You
in
could do that. I made a Hive
your train
a waterfall. Yeah, also yeah.
anytime you
But
get a
a long
block,
time
right?
ago, 5 years ago, I made the waterfall where you would see the activity,
Mm-hmm.
the stream of activity, new accounts, new upvotes, new transfer. Yeah, you could do that in 3D. Like just get splashed under operations.
Right? I mean, when you start thinking about how VR enables us to experience data and information, it's very different. It's no longer sort of this flat thing that you read or that you know, it suddenly becomes that things like our transactions can be visualized in any way.
Yeah.
And you can interact with them.
These things really make you feel
space.
like your Minority Report stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do it like this.
And that's one thing that, kind of getting off the HiveFest topic that's really interesting is, how we understand user interface and how we understand our, coming back to that workflow thing. There are quite a few apps now. They're called there's one that's called Hand Tracking Lab that's on Oculus Quest. I don't know if you've ever looked at it. It's fascinating. It's specifically so you can put those Oculus controllers down. And it's just games and activities that have nothing to do, but, you're plucking things out of the air and throwing them around and hammering nails and, dragging yourself along a conveyor belt. Or it goes to show how much you can actually do that is really flexible in space and time. And so, one of the coolest things I can think of is, you made a train once. You made a train that it whistled every time you witnessed a block. So, something like that. You pick a metric that people are really interested in that is recurring on our blockchain and that could be visualized in a 3D space with lights or color or sound or 3D models. And it starts becoming like mind-blowing in what it could become.
No, totally true. So the event will have some connections to the blockchain, obviously.
So you're already on this, but we can't know. Is this a secret thing so far?
Oh well, not per se secret, but that's one of the. It's also in the expo, in the onboarding expo. I say Hive. Hive is three things to me. So I translate how I see Hive. On one hand, we have a blockchain which is super fast and does the default blockchain stuff, right? So you can transfer value from one person to another really fast. On top of that, we have named accounts. So we don't need to remember any weird strings. I can just send money to Crimson Clad, the real one, not the one with the double D.
Right?
With the double D.
My keys, my account.
Yeah. Not the BTC Crimson.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are the media blockchain where we curate and reward curate content, and where we can reward content, right? And you can get rewarded by making your content. And then thirdly is the super easy developer tools, and you can use the Hive blockchain through the custom JSON property to use a decentralized key value store, and especially accessing that. So, for example, Splinter Ends does this, but accessing this key value store is done through these developer tools, and that's why I'm such a fan of Hive, is because these developer tools is just JSON RPC. You don't need to learn Solidity or learn C++ in order to write some code for the Hive blockchain. You can just, if you are just a plain simple nerd and you know a little bit of JavaScript, and you can include jQuery in your website, then you can already call the Hive blockchain and pull in data from our blockchain, and that's the really cool thing. So obviously I had to integrate some data of the blockchain inside AltSpace. Yes.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so now I'm quite excited about that.
Wow, I don't want to get the hopes too much up. So let me downplay it. But it's just obvious, right? It's a HiveFest. We're doing an event around the Hive blockchain, so the Hive blockchain must be present.
Yeah, of course. And I'm not trying to build it up, but to me, that is every time one of these things, these theoreticals that we talk about, that first step is, can it be done? And once we've done it once, now it's, all right, take it, run with it, do something incredible. And, for me, obviously, my focus these days is largely towards NFT showroom and some of the things like that. But thinking about Splinterlands or Rabona or Crypto Brewmaster or any of our games, I'm always kind of in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how amazing would it be to kind of have your game and all of the things that you experience on the Hive blockchain available to you in VR. Imagine if it could be, we have right now, some of NFT Showroom, somebody, Ben Flanagan built an app where you can display your collection in frames and you can, cast it to your TV or have it as your, on your computer to look at your collection outside of the website, but in beautiful frames. Imagine if you could create something in AltSpace VR where you typed in, I want to see Roeland's NFT collection, and all of a sudden this gallery populated with the NFTs that you collect, or I want to see everything that Julia K. Ponsford has made as an artist, and you populate all these images and all of them link back to a place where you can buy them with Hive, or you can see that artist's blog, or some of these possibilities are truly mind-bending to me. So it's not necessarily that I'm trying to hype people too hard, but I love that you're taking that first step and kind of showing people that it's possible, because that's what gets us better apps. That's what gets us better, cooler, useful things, is somebody just has to build it. And then everybody else who isn't quite who isn't the idea person, but maybe is an execution person, once they've seen it, then they can run with it and expand on it and, kind of take it even further.
Yeah. By the way, I wanted to remind people that so tomorrow is the HiveFest pre-pump event, but so it's one of the last events. We do another rehearsal event with speakers where other people are also invited, but that will be next week. But tomorrow will be the last more public event. And I really encourage people, because I said already a record number of people have signed up. So currently 450 people have signed up to join in HiveFest. And anyone watching and did not yet download AltSpace, you don't need a VR headset to start. You don't need a VR headset at all. I mean, they lowered the price, but it's still a hefty price. Plus, at some places they are sold out. Anyhow, download already the AltSpace software. It's available for Mac and for Windows. Please download it already. Set up your account, because if you start using AltSpace only 10 minutes before HiveFest launches, then you won't have such a nice time, because you're first starting to find out all the controls. There's also obligatory onboarding by AltSpace, its own software, so you will have to go through a small tutorial or find the way how to kill the tutorial. And if you join in only 10 minutes in advance, you don't have time to set up, dress up your graffiti, but not really graffiti, dress up your avatar. And then you will just look like some kind of a Blue Man Group person. You were wearing a default shirt with brown hair, and it's totally fine to have brown hair. But I mean, you will just look like all the other people who didn't take the time to at least explore a little bit in advance. And yeah, you don't want that. You want to be unique, even in the VR. So I really recommend to take a little bit of time. It only costs you 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes tops, but then maybe you have the risk to be drawn in, and then it will take longer. But it will take 10 minutes to set up your account and color your own avatar.
Okay, perfect. And so one other thing is, please remind me, and I might be a little bit late. Is there still are people still able to enter the contest with their avatar cards, or has that closed now?
Yes.
Okay,
no,
we
that's
gotta find
still
that
open.
link.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I everybody was in the newsletter. I mailed it, and it's in my last post also.
Okay, perfect. Somebody will throw it in chat, but maybe just remind everybody what that's all about.
So what is it about? If you have downloaded AltSpace software, and you have set up your own custom avatar, then you can find this link where 3,333 Hive will be shared amongst a couple of winners. Whoever showed off that they already did this task of setting up, preparing for HiveFest. So basically, if you already be part of the early adopters and set up your Hive AltSpace account, then you prove that you did this by going to this contest link, and then you will find another link where you can make your own attendee card, where you can paste your selfie out of AltSpace and your username, and then it could also be cool to show off on your Twitter and on your Marky Mark Facebook account that you're going to HiveFest. Share with your friends that you, from this day onwards, are officially represented in AltSpace.
Yeah, perfect. And Gandalf, of course, magicked up a link. So you can find it there in chat. If you guys are hanging out in the Discord, if you're watching somewhere else, and many of you are, just a quick reminder, my name is Crimson Clad. This is Roeland. He's here with me today for CyberBuzz. We're talking about HiveFest in VR. We've covered off some really interesting stuff. It's getting really exciting. A couple of the things, quick takeaways are, tomorrow is the last pre-pump event. So you should come, you should hang out with all of us, spend some time, get a feel for it. Tomorrow is also the last day to register for free. So you should do that too, because you want to come, you want to get that sweet, sweet badge for your Hive profile that you are a HiveFest attendee. And here's some free Hive.
This is Grim. I am now literally, I thought I was chatting with you.
Oh my god, you're chatting with the fake Crim? No! She's the worst! Block her, kick her, right in the junk, get rid of her. Oh my god. Or be a jerk to her. Play with her, I don't know. It's not me. I'm not typing to you. That's ballsy. Look at how fucking ballsy this is.
That you could just keep on typing while talking.
Oh my gosh, that's wild. So here you go.
Super classic.
I
am buying Ether right now, and it says I hit a daily limit. I have plenty of Bitcoin, 12.3.
Oh no.
But I won't buy any more ETH. I need it soon. Okay, send it to...
Okay, so
last 0x00000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000.
so last mention, for everybody's watching, listening, wherever you might be on any of the tons of platforms that we're streaming to right now, if Crimson Clad sends you a DM asking you for money right now while she's on air, tell her to get fucked. And if you accidentally tell me to get fucked, I won't take it personally. So just protect yourselves, friends. Oh my goodness, that's ballsy. That is ballsy.
This is pretty classic.
But to be fair, you thought it was me. So shit. Somebody's gonna okay. I'm gonna hunt down this fake Crim after the show. So that's a quick recap. The only other thing that we need is some people are asking, hey, where can I sign up? Well, of course, there's a fabulous website that Roeland has built. And quickly before, Roeland can type that into chat, but quickly, Revised Sociology leveled up in my chat, which means I need to take a shot of whiskey. So 1 second. I'm going to do that quickly. And Roeland, if you want to drop the link to the HiveFest website, that would be awesome because people in chat want to know.
Okay. It's hive.st, HiveFest, but with a dot for the last two characters. So .st. Oh.
Sorry.
Okay, now I need to find our chat. Where is it here?
All right. I think I'll type it in. All right. Ready? Hive.st. There we go. Okay.
Thank you.
So just double checking. I'm trying to keep my eye on chat. Arcade. I was just thinking about this. It came up in my phone because we're just a year away from the last HiveFest, and Archange and all of us were running around up in your penthouse with bottles of Sangsum doing the exact same thing. And I'm looking forward to this event. I know it won't be quite the same, but I certainly have made some lifelong friends and acquaintances on the Hive blockchain. And so seeing more people in chat right now getting ready to register and getting ready to come and join us, that's really exciting, and I'm super excited to see so many people who will be able to join us. So if you guys have any other questions or comments, we actually it's crazy how quickly time is going. We've got about half an hour, maybe less left in our show today. Roeland is here. He is graciously giving us some of his time, even though it's kind of a holiday there. You guys had a holiday. You want to get some downtime, getting ready for sleep, but we'll keep you for a little bit longer. And if people have questions or comments, stuff they want to ask, or suggestions to you about kind of pumping up HiveFest in these last couple weeks, now is the time here in chat.
So there's only one thing I said to fake Grim is that at 9:30. So I wanted to do like through DM. I wanted to say, okay, in 15 minutes I have another.
You told the wrong Grim about this show. Okay, sorry. So yeah, go ahead. We'll plan it live.
I said to the wrong Grim, who's now blocked, by the way. I said, so in 15 minutes I have another Zoom interview with Wade Pedersen.
Oh, you gotta go.
So it's now actually going to be scheduled in 41 seconds.
Okay, go. Run. I'll fix everything else. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'll cover for you. You're awesome. We fixed it at the end.
Yes, we did. And I just hope to see many of you tomorrow at 8 p.m. What's it called? UTC? I don't even know. Universal Time Collateral.
Noon PST, 3 p.m. EST. Whatever. You can make a run for it, Roeland. Don't be led astray by false crimson clads. If you need to know, always check the Hive blockchain. Trust, verify, all that good stuff.
Okay, thanks a lot, Grim, and don't buy too much ether.
Oh, God. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, guys. Okay. So, thanks. I'm going to actually take Roeland and just... I hucked him out of the room here. So, thank you so much for coming to hang out. And I know many of you guys only came to this show for to kind of spend time with Roeland, to ask questions about HiveFest and all that. But if you're enjoying yourself, consider subscribing or, hanging out with me every week. I'm here. I answer questions and comments, and we talk about the Hive blockchain. But we talk about disruptive technology. We talk about, sometimes we play music. We have a lot of fun. So if you're willing to hang out and you've been enjoying your time, come see me again. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is I am actually currently one of your consensus witnesses. I am a crazy person who really loves Hive. Starstreak says I have a nice voice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please, please, please don't send me money. I've never said that in my life, but apparently I'm going to have to. We're going to track down and beat the crap out of all the fake crims that are out there right now. But we've got about half an hour left in the show. Roeland is just on fire with his appearances today. And so I apologize if you hear from the start of the show. Oh, it's been a morning and a half. He was a little late. We didn't have the stream set up. I didn't even know what we were going to be doing. I was flustered. He was flustered. There's a fake crim running around. It's been a day, folks. So if you're still here, and many of you are, what do you guys want to talk about for the last half hour? Do any of you guys have stuff around the Hive blockchain that you want to talk about? I know some of you are new to the show. Maybe even some of you are new to what's happening around Hive. If you got stuff on the Hive, now everybody in chat is asking for money. If you got stuff around the Hive blockchain you want to focus on, great. If not, we could talk about some other stuff. Often we do talk a little bit about VR. We talk a little bit about apps or services that we want to see. We talk about cool space age stuff that's happening around the world, and sort of this weird techno future that we're already kind of existing in. Random internet guy, I haven't seen you in ages. Will there ever be a way to host podcasts on Hive with an RSS feed so all my normie friends can listen on iTunes and Spotify? So when you say that, what you're looking for, oh gosh, okay, there's a pile of questions, so we'll try and plow through them. So when you're saying you're looking for creating and hosting podcasts, we did for a while have something like D-Sound, but that was more like music oriented. And honestly, I don't know. I think D-Sound might be abandonware. I don't know. I don't want to spread that, but I know that they're not functional for a lot of people. However, yeah, podcasting, given the fact that we are in this weird, fucked up pandemic time where things are so different and so confusing, it would be really valuable. There are a lot of people who are branching out and thinking about either starting their own podcast or following more podcasts. As of right now, I don't think there is any way to sort of start from Hive and push forward out into the world. I know there are a lot of podcast sort of distribution services that exist, Anchor being one of them. Could 3Speak be used for podcasts? Sure. And, Vim or 3Speak could both be. 3Speak is probably a better fit because of recordings. And in a lot of cases, people are doing video with their podcasts now. Now, what you specifically want is an RSS feed. So you're wanting to be able to take that and kind of put it into... dSound is moving to their own blockchain. Oh, okay, fair enough. But yeah, so the RSS feed part, it seems to be the wall. Yeah, exactly. And so that's a really good question. I'm gonna kind of poke around and I'm gonna see if anybody has been exploring that. But in theory, this isn't something that's insurmountable. It's absolutely something that some of these services could build in. So I will take some eSyncy, and also maybe we can talk about eSyncy towards the end of the show, because eSyncy is a fabulous front end. They're so many improvements. They look so good. They feel so good. They're a very useful app. Maybe we'll talk more about that towards the end of the show. So the answer is, random internet guy. Right now, the RSS feed part, in terms of podcasts specifically, not really. That's a big opportunity. I will kind of poke around and see if I can find any interfaces that have really good RSS options and, also maybe video or audio content, and see what we can come up with. Let me just kind of scroll back up. Yeah, Liam was mentioning that 3Speak and Leo Twitter is doing exciting stuff. Yes, absolutely. And yeah, so I know there are post RSS services available, and Kitty Girl's actually been super helpful and dropped them right in chat. So in theory, if your podcast was inside a post, you could use RSS for it. But in terms of the actual sort of audio file being linked to an RSS feed that a player would understand, I don't think we have that currently, but I'll take a look. Who knows? Why not? This is the part that I love, is hearing what you guys out in the community are looking for and then bothering people into creating them and matching up these needs and these needs and the apps that get created for them. Yeah, Kitty Girl, she's probably a bot, not a human. She is incredibly talented at collecting giant lists of all the absolute best stuffs. So Liam's interested in Showroom. He's asked some questions about Showroom as well. So one of the things is, NFT Showroom. Again, we're biased here because even in the chat right now, you'll see Clay is there, Julia's there, Ron is there. Our team here is the team that's behind NFT Showroom. So I'm going to try not to get too nepotistic, but NFT Showroom has been doing, thanks, Starstrings. Kittypedia is a perfect name for Kitty Girl. Perfect name. So NFT Showroom has indeed been growing, and we have had some really cool metrics recently. And so this is something that we're looking to hopefully incorporate on the front page of NFT Showroom, is to start showing people some of the numbers that are happening. And one of our cool ones was, week over week, maybe last week or a week before, in that sort of week period, we actually had more unique buyers, not just sellers. We had more unique buyers than Rarible. Now, there are a lot of NFT incumbents out there. There are some big NFT sites, and while we're small and we have some features that we really need to come, there's some really cool accessible stuff for people with NFTs, especially around the Hive blockchain. And it's one of the reasons we're so passionate about it. Is it's fast. The big thing is the fees. Being able to use a blockchain that not only onboards you and lets you share and sell and collect art, it also immediately makes an account where you can go blog, you can go, you can go join in games and that connected ecosystem. We did a show about this a couple weeks ago. What does a giant connected ecosystem offer to an artist, or offer to a musician, or offer to the regular person? One of the best things about Hive is that when you come here to do one thing, you suddenly have the ability to do all the things, but you don't have to. You could pick and choose what works for you. And that's one of the things that's so exciting about it. So we are hoping, yeah, Julia's got a great point too. We have a super referrer badge through Hive on board. We've onboarded more than 100 people already. So there's some really cool stuff coming, and we're hoping to kind of grow this bigger and bigger, do a bit more marketing. But if you are interested in kind of checking out the NFT scene and you've kind of thought about it, but the fact that it's been largely up to this point in the ETH ecosystem has been maybe intimidating to you, then start right here. Start on Hive. It's a really incredible thing. And if nothing else, you might find somebody that you love their art and you just decide, I want to check out their posts. I want to curate them, whatever the case may be. So there's lots of cool stuff going on around the showroom. I don't want to talk the whole show about it, but I'm absolutely a little bit biased for sure. So let's just take a quick peek. I know Gandalf and Random Internet Guy are still talking about podcasting stuff. And that is the trick for sure, is storage and longevity, the hosting aspect of it. And then, yeah, in the case of the way that the Hive blockchain works, when you stake, of course, you are building up your ability to have resource credits. Now, without getting into it, because most of the people that I see in chat are old timers and they know how Hive works. When you have more resource credits, you can do more around the ecosystem. You can take more action around the blockchain. However, that doesn't directly translate. And yeah, Solo, I'm going to try and touch on your question, but I'll come back to it in just a sec. The reality is that resource credits that allow you to take action don't translate into hosting space. And that is tricky because, as we all know, hosting right now, where everyone is making content, is expensive. Everybody's making HD 4K video. Where do I store it? How do I store it for a long time? Denkende, yes, DPoS, you're exactly right. And of course you're allowed to put pictures in here. Go for it. We've got newbies, we've got oldies, it doesn't matter. This show is for newbies too. If I ever say something and it's confusing to you, let me know. I'll go back and I will do my best to try and explain it. We should probably do another newbie night too. So that's something that maybe in the future we can do, is we can get some people who want to learn more about Hive together, and you can ask your questions in a judgment-free atmosphere. We're always here to help you learn. However, knowing that we only have a little bit of time left, what you guys can do, I'm just going to quickly show you in the Discord chat. If you're somewhere else, it's not going to work for you. But we do have a command that looks like this. It's called subscribe. If you click it, or if you type it in chat and you click it, you will actually be able to subscribe to this show. You'll get a Discord notification the next time that I'm on air. And that way, if you have questions, comments, you want to come out, have some fun, and spend time with me for this show, that will give you a little Discord notification. So go ahead, you can type the subscribe command, and then you'll just get a Discord notification. I swear to God, the fake Crimson Clad won't show up and ask you for money. So Solo had asked, and it is a pretty hefty question. Solo had asked about Section 230 being revoked, and will that affect Hive? Now, for a lot of people, let's just see, sorry, Den Candy, like Steam It, but all communities have their own page on Hive, but the same concept. So a really quick catch up for some of you. Den Candy, Hive is a fork of Steem. Everything that you did on the Steem blockchain is available to you on Hive. Once Hive was created, it's a whole new thing. So it's very familiar. If you know how to use Steem, then you know how to use Hive. However, it's on its own blockchain. It is much better decentralized. And of course, you do have the option to use communities and some of the other features that have come out since Hive has split away from Steem. So you're absolutely right. It's very similar to Steem. It is the spiritual successor to Steem. If you were using it, I highly recommend you come back, give it a try. Explore around Hive. You haven't been on platforms or in blockchain for 2 years. Well, it's a good time to come back, my man. And I'm glad to see you here and chat with us. So, Section 230. If you're not in the US, this may not be as front of mind for you. But essentially, there is this thing, Section 230, and it basically is talking about protections and rights for social platforms versus media publication publisher platforms. And that probably doesn't sound very important to you, but what it essentially is talking about is the inherent difference between me here as a random person telling you something and pretending that it's news versus, say, a newspaper or an established media outlet or a publishing company that sort of gives weight and validation to a news or a reporting or a journalism type source. And so if this sounds really confusing, it's basically the difference of, if you need to get your news, where are you getting it from and how do you know you can trust them? Well, there are certainly some protections that exist. If I go out and I tell you that spread the word, get in your bunkers, I know for a fact that the nuclear bombs are dropping tomorrow, that's very different. And I have sort of different consequences than if a newspaper goes out and says, holy shit, the bombs are dropping tomorrow, get in your bunkers. So think about that. What has more impact on you? What has, if it's proven false or proven true, what has more impact on people and our society in general? Well, obviously an established publisher or a media outlet, right? If the newspaper suddenly decided to print a fake news story about the bombs are dropping tomorrow, can you imagine the panic or the problems that would cause in society? Well, the problem that we have right now is we don't have a good handle on what news sources are news, what news sources are social, what social sources are journalism, what journalism sources are publications. And so when we come and we look at places like Twitter or Facebook, and these are places where people can come and share opinions, share news, share information, and the platform starts actually either censoring or creating messages like, ooh, can't fact check this, they're no longer really acting in a social capacity. And this is a really problematic thing for everyone, is all of a sudden, if a platform that literally exists to give everyone a voice starts really, really manipulating those voices, are they really a platform anymore? Or are they becoming a publisher? Are they starting to become almost like a news outlet? And this is a big issue. And yeah, Denkande, exactly. It's a social dilemma. We have a real problem with this. And so if Section 230 is revoked, it suddenly means that there won't be as many protections for this in law. And that means potentially that if you say something on one of these platforms, there's a good chance that you won't be able to. If it is sort of questionable, if it's news content, if it needs to be fact checked, what it means is that a lot of the ability that you have on a social platform to speak freely is probably going to change. And so when we look at this in regards to Hive, a lot of people come to Hive because it is censorship resistant, because it is immutable, because you can't be banned from the blockchain itself. And all of that's really important right now. But what happens if some of these protections or some of these laws or some of the ways that we look at this information changes? And that's the key for sure. And so Solo's question was, what happens to Hive if this changes? What does Hive look like? And there are a couple different answers for this, and I can't tell you what the right one is. But for example, Hive itself is the blockchain. And yeah, everybody's talking about saying dumb things. Yeah, mascara, me too. There is absolutely, I've said some dumb things in my past. I say dumb things every day. I've probably said 50 dumb things on this show. But for Hive, the blockchain itself doesn't choose. And I think that would be a very important sort of point that will be useful should it ever come to pass that these sorts of things are being brought up around the Hive ecosystem. at the end of the day, at the very base level, information goes into the blockchain. The blockchain itself doesn't choose, doesn't fact check, doesn't whatever, but front ends do. And that's going to be tricky. And like Big Tom said, yeah, you can't be banned, but you can be made really hard to find. It's true. Front ends could decide not to show your content. And there is a chance that front ends, especially depending on what they look like and how they position themselves, front ends might be affected by Section 230. I honestly don't know. I haven't done enough research into it, and I couldn't really make an argument. There's an entire possibility that front ends might have to kind of toe the line or change their terms of use a little bit. But I think right now, to be quite honest, one of the only nice things about being as small as we are is that this whole Section 230 thing, even though it may change the face of the internet and the way that we do use the internet to communicate, no one is going to be looking at Hive. And that's a huge problem and also kind of a release. So, should it happen? Julia's saying Kiwi Farms actually said it would shut down if it goes through. And it's true, because imagine having to police the content that you are just creating a platform for. That's wild. It is 230 is their protection. Yeah. So for a good example here is, are you simply a platform that allows me to talk to you? Or are you a publisher that essentially is almost kind of standing behind some of these statements? And one is saying, nope, doesn't matter. I'm just a conduit. And one is saying, no, I am enabling this content to exist. And I don't know what that's going to look like. It's going to get messy. 230, it has problems, but it also kind of represents a lot of the stuff that we as free speech proponents and, censorship resistant seekers value a lot. So I don't know, to be quite honest. And, this is something that's come up though in the past, is people say, well, okay, what if somebody puts child porn in the blockchain? What if somebody, writes something heinous, hate speech that is, so brutal and is a call to violence against people? Well, the answer is it goes in the blockchain. That's what happens. And, that comes with its own problems. We know front ends can block it. Front ends can choose not to show it and likely would. The blockchain itself, to change that, there would actually have to be a concerted effort by witnesses. There would have to be a consensus made on whether that transaction would be included. The amount of work that it would take to actually sort of remove that transaction or not acknowledge it or, fork that block out is huge. And so it probably wouldn't happen. And that's, Kwa is exactly right. That's going to be where these future battles are fought, is, well, none of the front ends show it. Nobody can see this information unless they directly go looking for it in the blockchain. But if it's there, do we still have to find someone to sue? Do we have to find someone to come after? Can you do that when a blockchain is decentralized, when a ledger is decentralized? And if you can, who do you come after? Do you come after the person who wrote it? Do you come after the witness that accepted that block? Do you come after the entire consensus for agreeing on it? Do you try to take down the nodes that serve the blockchain to front ends? I don't know. And so, it is scary times. It's interesting times. There's a lot of theoreticals that right now we don't have a good answer to. We don't know how this will play out. But we also do know, good luck finding an anonymous poster, to one of either, the Hive front ends or whatever. Good luck. How are you going to find them? Some of you might be amazing social engineering, socially forensic, whatever. You promise you're not fake, Krim? Thank you. Maybe you'd be able to figure it out. But in general, in terms of if somebody creates an anonymous Hive account, posts through an anonymous Hive front end, and has that transaction go into the blockchain, good fucking luck. Good fucking luck figuring out who that was. And in that case, who do you hold responsible? Who do you come after? If you simply can't find someone, what does that change? Do you have to start policing from the top down? I don't know. And that's definitely the scary part, for sure. So in terms of an answer, don't have one for you. In terms of good conversation on it, well, there's absolutely some that will come down the pipe for sure, but we're not quite there yet. So I don't know. I can only give you my opinion, and I can only hope that we don't necessarily see a repeal of 230, but that we that we maybe see some changes into what it allows, and maybe some of the biggest platforms, publishers, front ends, the Twitters, the Facebooks, maybe they have to have some oversight. Maybe that's when you get too big, maybe you do. When you have such an incredible impact on our culture and, people around the world, maybe there needs to be some specific rules made for you. I don't know. Many of us here don't want to see that happen, even if we hate Facebook or Twitter. So it'll be a formative time, shall we say. So thanks for everybody joining us. Hey, thanks for putting up with the start of the show today. When we started the show this morning, Making Stuff hadn't been here. Roeland hadn't been able to get a chance to talk to me, so I didn't even know if he was coming on the show. The overlays were all messed up. The start of the show was very stressful. And I'm not trying to say that I'm angry, because he came and we had a great interview, but I really did want to share this with more of you. So for the fact that so many people showed up and came to hang out today, thank you so much. And just put that first little bit from your minds. And I hope you enjoyed the sort of interview today. I hope that I will see you in HiveFest, and that I'll see you at the Pump Up event tomorrow. We're coming down to the last 5 minutes of the show today. Now, I believe that Aggroed might be on after me today. I haven't checked to see that he is going to be here or not. So next will be directly after the show. Usually it's Aggroed, and he does the Minnow Mailer town hall type show, I believe. So there is more entertainment. But if you liked hanging out, normally the show looks a little different. We talk with the crowd. We chat with all of you guys, answer questions. People come on air. I also play a lot more music. So that's something, if you want to come hang out with me, I highly recommend. I've been yelled at multiple times to ask people to maybe check out some of the streams, follow along. This show is made great by you, not me. I'm just the crazy lady that shows up every week and tries to keep her shit together on air. So if you guys have any last little topics that you want to talk about, that's great. I'm going to be spending the weekend getting a little bit more ready towards the holiday season. And I don't know if you've noticed, but if you are a previous watcher, and I see a bunch of people on Vim, hi. I also noticed my Twitch and YouTube counter is broken, so that sucks. But I've changed the overlay a little bit. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, man. It's cool. You guys wonder why I have such, imposter issues with myself. We've got some new overlay stuff. We've got some viewer totals. I've changed my room around a little bit. I have another plant that has moved. I've removed that sort of shelf that I have here. More room for VR. So hopefully you guys are going to have great weeks. If you have anything that you need help with, feel free to DM me. Ask me if I'm the real Crimson Clad. If Crimson Clad asks you for money, she's a lying sack of shit. Kick her in the box. But otherwise, I'll be back here next week. I hope you guys have a good week. What are you guys doing for Christmas? What do the holidays look like for you? We're in those crazy pandemic times where the governments are out of control and everything's in lockdown and everything's a shit show. Are you going to be seeing your family? Are you going to be getting together? What does it look like for you? I am hoping that all of you get a chance. The number on YouTube is 7. You think it's a record? Yeah, we usually have people coming and going. So it's funny because that viewer counter on the overlay, you can see there it said 0 the whole time. So it's broken. I definitely broke it. There's no doubt. Doing nothing as usual. That's fair. No big deal. That's cool. So no problem. I think that's a great idea, Gandalf. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up my Quest. I'll join you. Are you going to be in the campfire? I'm going to come hang out in AltSpace VR for maybe about half an hour. I'll come hang around. Thank you, Ron, for sending me a tip. And yeah, Clay, I'm sorry about YouTube. I didn't fix the chat because I was trying to figure out where Roeland was. Listen, this morning has been a fucking trip, okay? But if you came, if this was your first show, if this was your millionth show, I appreciate the fuck out of you. Please keep coming. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. I suspect that in the new year, this show is going to pivot a little bit. I'm probably going to talk more with NFT artists, with synthwave artists. It'll probably be a little more involved. And yeah, I will try and get back to the music a little bit more. So we'll see. Maybe I'll drive you away, but maybe, just maybe, if you hang out with me a little bit, I'll win you over. And of course, as per usual, if you have anything that you want to talk about, if there's stuff going on around the Hive, thanks, Justin. If there's stuff going on around the Hive blockchain that you want to know more about, if you're like random internet guy and you say, hey, here's the thing that I want, well, God damn it, I will get out there and I'll see if I can find somebody that will build it for you. But we're down to the last little bit of the show. My name is Crimson Clad. This has been CyberBuzz. Roeland was hanging out with me today. You can find me on, of course, the Hive blockchain at Crimson Cloud, Twitch, YouTube, Vim, Twitter, whatever. It doesn't matter. Next time you'll see me will be for Full Force Radio on Thursday night. I'll be back here next week. Thanks, man. Thanks for being here, even on days where I am super, super rough. And that is definitely not the real Crimson Clad in chat, but I'm okay with it. It's pretty good. I'll see you guys later, or maybe in VR. Say hi to Agrod for me.